Hi, so as part of the tricky areas in ECDL Advanced Word Processing, we're going to do question 28. We're not doing the entire question, but the areas that I'd like to look at using the pre-online revision paper is using Topperville Hall, marking an entry for the introduction heading on page 1 as introduction and a sub-entry of background. Then it's asking us to insert a page break after the last paragraph and then insert an index on the final page 3. Not make any changes except in all the defaults. And then finally on page 2 under the heading gift shop, it's asking us to modify existing outlining numbers starting with cakes and ending in soft drinks so that it starts at 1 and ends at 2.1.3. So let's do this together then. Okay, so the Word pre-online revision paper work files, we're going to open up Topperville Hall if you haven't got it open from the previous video. Continue with this, hence welcome back here. So the first part of this question is asking us to mark an entry on page 1, and it's the introduction heading that is asking us to deal with. So we're in our references tab where we have all our automated features, and we're marking an entry because marking entries is a way of showing words in our index and what page number they are automatically. So it's an automated feature. So you mark the index words that you want and then you create an index and they all go into it. If you want to change or remove marked entries from your index, then you remove the code you'll see in a moment and then you update the index to reflect that change. So all our automated features are they're reflections of things that we've done. Okay, so they're updates of fields really, if you think about it that way. So we've highlighted introduction, we go into our mark entry, and here it's asked us for a main entry of introduction, which is already there, and then a sub-entry of background, which we need to type in. There's no cross-reference or anything like that, so we mark and then we close. Notice straight away how you can see this code next to the introduction, and there's some code down there as well next to house. These are marked entries that have taken place already, and this is the one that we've just done. So these are things that are going to go into our index. You can see another one there. Now if you're asked to remove one of these, the reason we can see them is because we just created one. So I go to the Home tab and the Show and Hide is on. If you take the Show and Hide off, then those markups are not displayed. So if you've been asked a different question and asked to remove one and then right click and update the index to reflect that change, then you need to put the Show and Hide on, and then you can enables you to pick up the whole of the code, including the curly brackets, and then you would delete it and then right click on the index and reflect the change of removal. However, in this case, that's what it's asked us to do, and then we're going to move on to the next part of the question. I'm going to leave the Show and Hide on so you can see our next part where we're inserting a next page break after the last paragraph, which I would imagine is on page 2. So we can either do a Control and Enter, or we can use the page layer and the breaks from here, next page break. And if I go back up, you can see that section break, next page break there. Okay. So here we're going to insert an index. So back to our referencing, here's our insert index table automated depending on what we've marked up. So it says to accept all defaults, but you could be asked in the test and in personal life to change these. You may want to change them columns that are showing and fancy formats, etc. But if we're just doing it like this, let's just take the Show and Hide off so we don't need to see that all the time. And you can see that there's the one that we've just created, and then you can see the other ones that's already in this document. So that's creating the index aspect of it. So then what we need to do to finally finish this part of the tricky area is scroll back up to page 2. You can see that it's page 2 there using the scroll bar. And we need to highlight the area. It says it wants to change the outline numbering between cakes and soft drinks. Now sometimes on a right click you'll be able to get to what we need, which is numbering value. Sometimes you can't. In this case you can't, but you can see that this is lit up on the ribbon, the numbering area. If I drop down the drop down next to it, you can see set numbering value. So if we click on set numbering value, we want it to start at 1, so we just bring it down to 1, set value 2, OK it, and then you can see that it changes so that it starts at 1 and ends at 2.1.3. Okay, so we haven't done all of the questions, question on 28, but we've done the tricky areas. Hopefully these will help using the pre-online paper, and you can have a look at the videos and maybe look over them a couple of times just to get you through some of the test questions. Anyway, that's the final tricky areas today. I hope you enjoy. Thank you. Usually